ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app. Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is the Breakfast Bankroll for Friday, May 3rd, 2024. Kentucky Derby weekend. Tomorrow, the Run for the Roses, 150th race. It's going to be fun, exciting. But it's that time of the week where we are blessed and honored to have CXO Travis Geiger of WagerWire here, our proud sponsor and partnership with them. We're going to talk a big ticket still hanging around with the OKC Thunder to win it all. Well over $1 million if they do. Got a nice little potential payout. What the value is, Travis is going to walk us through that, of course. But first and foremost, if you have not downloaded the app, head on over to Google Play. Please download it. It's free. Get yourself acclimated to the app. Download all the sports books that are available in your state. Take advantage of the promos, the match plays, etc. And if you want to join this amazing team, Travis, Zach, Amber, Jay, it just builds every day. There's so many names. I could talk an hour just a part of this community, the way it's growing. Send that email to affiliate@wagerwire.com. Tell them JD from ECSI sent you. But first and foremost, the star of this show, the one and only, Mr. Travis Geiger. Hello, sir. Mute.
Mute. I'm off mute. I'm here. I'm up. I'm ready.
How are you today, sir?
Good. Thank you for having me on.
It's always awesome to catch you. We got busy schedules. We got New York. We got Malta. So any chance we got to get you in here, that's our play. And today it is. How's the week been going, sir?
It's been a heck of a week, man. We are grinding. We got some really great stuff coming. We just pushed a nice little app update if everyone wants to check it out. And we got a big ticket to talk about.
Well, let's talk.
Let's talk. All right. So I pulled up right here for everyone that can see it. This is Wayne. He's something of a genius. He has the Rangers to win the World Series, check. Kansas City Chiefs to win the Super Bowl, check. OKC Thunder need to win the NBA, and Wayne turns $100 into $1.7 million. Wild.
No, that is absurdly wild. Take us through the thought process we had during it was, about 6 months ago? Less than that, about 3 months ago, Antoine. So take us to Antoine's ticket. Take us how you walked through Antoine to where this gentleman is right now.
Yeah, so Martwan had what they call $5 in a dream, where he had $5 on a parlay for the NFL honors. He could turn 5 into $680,000. He had Lamar Jackson MVP. He had CJ Stroud, Rookie of the Year. He had the 5 favorites going into the NFL honors. He ended up missing by 2 votes on Will Anderson. But the good news is he sold 25% of it for $20,000. So that bet ended up not hitting. He was still able to pocket $20K. It was a good outcome. We actually sweated it live at the Circa with him. And it became one of the most read articles on the New York Post the time of the Super Bowl. So it went super viral. Ben Fox tweeted about it. Darren Ravel tweeted about it. And this is kind of trending that direction. What's interesting now is whatever Wayne wants to do is his prerogative, but we're helping him out with fielding some offers. And we actually do have an offer on this ticket, which isn't high enough for him yet, but we'll check, and I'll tell you why. So we had an offer for $100,000 to Wayne to buy this ticket off of him. Now, as you can see, last cash out was $75K. I just messaged him to see if he's gotten a better deal yet, but that's 37 cents on the dollar from what our calculator here says it's worth. If you go to wagerwire.com/calc, I put in the info of the parlay here. He's got this leg remaining. It's plus 750 right now for the Thunder. That puts his $100 up into $201,000 territory on the value of it. Now you can see what the cash out is down here. No bueno. So we'll see if DraftKings can throw him a bone. But right now we got a buyer who chooses to remain more or less anonymous, although we have used his name before. Who's got $100,000 offer out. Let's see if he ups it now that they made it to the next series. What would you do in this situation, Jeff, if you were Wayne?
We talked about this backstage, and it's pretty intriguing. The Celtics are the overwhelming favorites to win the championship. They did get an injury with Mr. Porzingis. He's probably going to be out for the next series, maybe even dragged out to the Eastern Conference Finals. We'll see. It's almost the same injury as Giannis had. So now out west, you have OKC awaiting the winner of Dallas and the Clippers. If Dallas wins tonight, they will win the series in 6. OKC is rested. They will host the Mavericks. Denver, the defending champs, is hosting Minnesota. They're a 2-1 favorite. A lot of public and a lot of sharp action are coming in on Minnesota. A lot of people think Minnesota can give them a big series here and potentially upset them. So I think OKC will be a pick 'em maybe against the Clippers and maybe a short favorite against Dallas or vice versa. But it's going to be real tight. So I think here's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I have a Dallas Mavericks ticket at 13-1 to win the West still. So I'm obviously praying for Dallas, but I mean, I don't have numbers like this. So I'm rooting for this ticket here. I think, honestly, the value's at 201. I think OKC can beat Dallas or the Clippers. I really do. The intriguing part here, Travis, is if Minnesota was to upset Denver. Now you're going to have an OKC team favored over Minnesota. But the real big problem is they're going to be big underdogs against the Celtics.
Right. So you're thinking that if you're Wayne, I mean, by the way, you can sell partial sales. So are you trimming some position now if you're Wayne?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I would be. We talked, and this is, God, I'd like to have Biff's Almanac and say, if we were having this conversation a year from now, where we could technically, the sports book has this ticket and every morning, Wayne's taken, here, I just sold 2%. I just sold 3%. I just sold 4%. At the end of each series, he still could have 60, 70% of his ticket, but he's got his money back. Plus, he's made 10, 20, 30%, however much he's already made, still with a 50, 60% share ownership of this ticket.
Yeah, it's interesting. We'll see what he does. Now, obviously, we're still getting the digital part of our stuff stood up. So this is kind of like a white glove VIP service. I'm just checking my DMs to see if Wayne's got back to me yet. Not yet. I think that he's going to see an increased offer from a couple of our VIPs, and he'll have a decision point, kind of like Martwan had. Martwan's bet got into the 6 figures. It basically touched $100,000 when they were all favorites, and was around that area. So the price that he got for it, $25,000 for 20% of it, ended up being pretty fair. 25% of this bet right now at current value would be $50K. So we could take $50K off the table and still have 2/3 of it riding. Be pretty decent. We'll see what he does. It's all up to him. He believes in the Thunder, big Thunder fan. I don't blame him. So and 1.7 is life-changing money. 50K still is life-changing money for some people, but I could see why you'd want to, keep your eye on the prize there. I'm kind of with you in your analysis though, Jeff. I don't know. I think at a certain point, they're going to run into a buzzsaw, and then you might even see these numbers start to roll back a little bit. This is in a pretty juicy spot. So it's kind of interesting. We actually talked with ESPN about this ticket, and Wayne did an interview with ESPN as well. So we'll see what that's supposed to be coming out shortly. We're sending them the updated bet values for their article, but it's going to get some national attention. So we're breaking it here first, actually.
Well, that's what we do here. We love to break news. And the dollar in a dream. I remember 20 plus years ago, it's got to be 20 years ago, DraftKings and FanDuel came onto the scene, and they were at every sporting arena. They were every 2 seconds, there was a billboard, there was a commercial. But that was it. You bet a dollar in a dream. Bet $5 and turn it into $1 million. That was the thought process. And so, big fan, whether he believes and really believes versus, I'm going to say common sense. In other words, if someone came up to me and I had this ticket and said, "Hey, I'm going to pay what it's worth, $200,000 on $100 bet," I would have to say, where do I sign? I'll take the 200,000, but maybe you could create this deal with, hey, I'll give you the ticket for 200,000, but can you give me, some kind of sweat so I can still enjoy this with you?
Right. Let's take it to the graph here. Let's switch it over to bet value. This is a $100 bet. So this is if you just had a $100 outright bet. Your $100 outright bet is only worth, it's still good, but $800 right now. So you're 8x. It's much different calculus than when you started to parlay. These are great calls. The Rangers World Series call is wild. Kansas City Chiefs, still pretty good call. But if we're talking about if you're just doing your Thunder bet, you're still up 8x, but it's certainly not turning $100 into $800 is much different than turning $100 into $1.7 million.
And Russell Saylor brings up a good point. He goes, bookmaker will have yes or no for the Thunder, and like Circa, the same thing, yes, no for the Thunder. Maybe worth keeping an eye on selling off some pieces. So if Dallas wraps it up tonight, they probably start next Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday. I would assume you might want to have a little share in the winner of Dallas and the Clippers against the Thunder there. You start, it's almost like when we were talking back in the fall, when we were talking about the Circa contest, there comes a certain point where you start playing against the field here to try to, I always say, you're not hedging, but you're playing against yourself. You're still rooting for yourself, but you have outs, to guarantee some profit and stuff like that. And go back to that ticket for a second, because I want to walk through that ticket, how big this was. The Texas Rangers now bring over Max. They bring over DeGrom, both injured, and then they bring Montgomery back over at the All-Star break. They caught lightning in a bottle, and not only do they go through the AL, in the World Series, I guess, fortunate enough to face Arizona. So it was a great matchup for them. They were favored in the series. Great World Series. Congrats on that. But the Chiefs, everyone says, geez, the Chiefs, the Chalks, Mahomes, and Andy Reid. No here. Okay. They were the third seed. Okay. So they had to win their first game at home, which they did against the Texans. Okay. But then they had to go to Buffalo. Okay. They were 3-4 point underdogs in Buffalo. They win that game. Well, everyone goes, Mahomes, Indy. They were 2.5 point underdogs at Baltimore. So they had to beat the Texans, which they were big favorites to do. Then they were underdogs in Buffalo. They were underdogs in Baltimore. And then they were short underdogs in the Super Bowl against the Niners. So, again, it wasn't easy peasy to nail these first two here.
No, absolutely not. It's a great call. It's amazing. And here's Wayne right here. And he's salt of the earth, amazing dude. And all we want is a good outcome for. I would love if they could come up on the on the cash out for him. I would love if they could offer cash out, partial cash out for him? Do you throw him a bone? But we're here for him. We're trying to get him a good outcome, just like we did with Martwan. You know, with Martwan, we walked right up to FanDuel, and I can't really talk out of school, but we go to the books and we say, hey, can you throw him a bone? We just want a good outcome for our bettors, whether it's them selling it or the book giving them a fair shake or whatever. But they have their cash out risk engines, which they don't like to override or set precedents. So what I think is interesting here is, in order to really hedge this, I mean, you can, like you said, not necessarily hedge, but play the field, etc. But if you're thinking about a traditional hedge, a classic hedge on this OKC Thunder leg, you could do it, but against 1.7, you got to have a ton of liquidity. You got to have like a stack of cash sitting avail to try to hedge that. You know what I mean?
And here's the hardest part here is again, Dallas or the Clippers. Okay. What, like I said, I think it'll be close to a pick 'em for either one of those two teams here. And where's the Clippers? They're down 3-2, and they should be down there even. Yeah, I should move this. There they are right there. So again, big numbers there. And then if you get through this one, then if it's Denver, you're going to be plus 150 probably against Denver. And if it's Minnesota, I think you'll be favorites over Minnesota.
Are the Clippers? I mean,
they're down 3-2.
They're not. Yeah, I know, but they're being counted out by the book. I gotta say, yeah.
I want to add this, Travis. You talked about Martwan, and these tickets are now becoming. They don't happen every day. You said you talked to the books. What a story this would be if one of the books or a big ESPN or something took this ticket and says, we're going to have some fun with this. We're going to have this gentleman sitting at every OKC game, the first two games. We're going to fly him out to either Dallas or LA for game 3 and 4. And you could, just on the PR, just on the hits on social media, the ticket would pay for itself.
Oh, 100%. It's something we talk to him about all the time. It's if at the price of, one of your Times Square billboards, you could give somebody an experience of a lifetime, and all of America could rock with Wayne. I want Wayne courtside at every Thunder, game. I want him there, and he shouldn't have to pay for it. I mean, they should be treated like a VIP. Okay, at this point, everybody in America is looking at Wayne's ticket, and I honestly think that that DraftKings should lean into it. It'll be interesting to see how that conversation goes.
So we go from there. Where would you like to transition to, sir?
Yeah, I mean, let's hang out on these graphs a little bit, Jeff. I know you like these. The people like these. So we were going through the Thunder. I mean, this isn't really his ticket, but we could look at some of the conference championship matchups. Who do you think is going to make it to the Western Conference Championship? Who do you got, and who do you got for the East?
Western Conference Championship, I am going to go Denver. I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm going to go Denver, Dallas.
Really? So you think, in your mind, OKC gets knocked out by Denver next round?
No, they'll play Dallas.
They play Dallas. Sorry, they get knocked out by Dallas next round in your bracket, or maybe they go lose to Denver. You don't see them making the finals?
Who's that?
OKC.
Oh, I can easily see them making the finals. Like I said, they're going to be short favorites over either one or pick'ems. So put up the Denver and OKC. Just put those two up. Take Dallas down.
Mm-hmm.
So they're saying right there a potential, about 2-1, which is what they're favored over Minnesota right now, which I think will be a little less. I think you'd get Denver, if my head's correct, Denver probably around minus 180, maybe 175, and you get an OKC at about plus 150, 155 maybe.
Wow, I'm just looking at OKC really was long shot odds. I mean, it's a crazy parlay, man. Let's look at the East real quick.
I mean, most people are going to tell you it's going to be Celtics versus the Knicks. That's what everyone's going to tell you.
Do you believe in the Knicks?
I believe in Brunson. I don't believe in Spike Lee. No pun intended. I just, the Porzingis injury is big. Now does someone else get nicked up? I don't think you see Porzingis before this series here. I just think the Celtics are too deep. They've been here before. They're learning from their mistakes. I don't think they're going to get much push from Orlando or Cleveland. It'll probably be another 5-game series. I think the Knicks will be challenged a little more in the next series. It will be a funner. Look at me saying funner here. The Pacers here. That will be a fun series. I really do. And Nick says, Mr. Russell Saylor says, Knicks aren't ready for TJ McConnell. No, I agree. I think the whole world will be on the Knicks. The Knicks are kind of with how Brunson is playing center stage. And I think that series against the 76ers is going to take some starch out of them. So I'm expecting a fun series there, Mr. Saylor. But do I believe? Sure. Anything can happen. It's basketball. The Celtics, you're going to have to beat them 4 times in a series. And I don't see anyone in the East that is capable currently of doing that.
Fair. I mean, we got some people on staff that would really love the Knicks to make a miracle happen, but we'll see. Okay. Do you want to check out hockey? Have you been following hockey at all?
Sure. Let's go to some hockeys.
Let's go to hockey. Yeah, go ahead.
So currently you got to win the cup here. You have Edmonton, Carolina. Let's throw in some. Who's already in? The Rangers are already to the next round. Who else we got there? Vancouver's still playing. The Colorado Avalanche are in. So these guys are already in. Now the Stars play Vegas tonight, and then the Bruins are playing the Leafs tomorrow.
How does this grouping look for you, general? Like when you're looking at this, where we at in the playoffs? Is this normal that these teams would be similar in odds like this?
Yeah, I think that I had pre-flop start of the year. We had Carolina and the Rangers to win the East and to win the Cup, and out west we had the Avs and Dallas. Mm-hmm. I sent out before the tournament started. I think it's going to be Colorado and Dallas, and I think, Carolina and Dallas. Oh. And I had Carolina in 6. I think Carolina's the team to beat. I think they're going to win the cup. But again, I forgot to even add there the Panthers. The Panthers are already through Florida, who's playing great hockey as well. They're no slouch here either. So the hockey, there's nothing better. Drop the puck and go. The Bruins had a 3-1 lead. They lose at home in Game 5. They lost last night 2-1. And now there's a Game 7. Game 7s in hockey's, it's a bad pass. It's a bad bounce on the ice. It is the most intense 60-minute sport you'll ever want to watch there.
Wow. Yeah. So we see that. Look at this. I mean, we see that. Yeah. We see their dip reflected. This is all real time. If you guys want to go to wagerwire.com/graph, by the way, you can make these yourself. So we can see that slip right there. And then we can see the crazy bounce by Dallas. I mean, they were left for dead down here, Jeff.
Yeah. They had home ice advantage against the Knights. They lost the first 2 games at home, so everyone counted them out. They went to the Fortress in Vegas and not only won Game 3, they won Game 4. So now they come back home tied 2-2. And what do? They win Game 5. So now they're up 3-2. All the pressure on Vegas in an elimination game tonight at T-Mobile in Vegas.
Oh, it's a home game.
Yeah.
4,200 plus 4,200. Wow, look at this. I love when we can watch where the flippening happens here, because they're going back and forth. This is the series starts here, okay, and Vegas is more favored to win the championship. But then coming out of it, of course, elimination games, like we say, only one team can win. The rest are going to go to zero. So they're on their way. They're on their way down. If they can't pull up, this bet's gonna be worth nothing, of course. So $100 bet right now on the Golden Knights is worth $30. If you placed it April 3rd, $100 bet right now on the Stars is worth $127. If we went back and placed it at the beginning of the season, you're up almost double your money on your Stars. You're about in the same spot down on the Knights, $30.
And I try to explain this to people, and it's hard. If you're not in on a pre-flop, if you didn't buy a ticket in mid-season, or you didn't buy a ticket before the tournament started, or even if you just bought a series price, where a lot of people aren't wired this way. Where I'm going with this is the odds change after each game. So let's take an example of the Bruins and Toronto. Bruins were favored like minus 120 when the series started, and you could have got Toronto at even money. The Bruins win game 1, Toronto wins game 2. Well, what happens is the Bruins now go to Toronto and win game 3 and 4. So now it's 3-1. And so now, of course, everyone's expecting Bruins are going to come back home in game 5 and finish this off. Well, they didn't. Well, they're going to definitely do it in Toronto, game 6. They didn't. So we're back to a game 7 here tomorrow night at the Garden. My point is, before this series started, we had Toronto in 6 plus 425, and we had Toronto in 7 plus 525. So the Bruins are minus 130 to win tomorrow. I got a plus 525 ticket on Toronto in 7. So common sense would be, hey, if I wanted to, I could go in and put 2 units on the Bruins, and I'm guaranteeing myself 2 units. I don't care who wins the game. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. That's the method. That's the method. And then what I mean, like, look, if with WagerWire, if you thought the Leafs had a chance down here, I mean, crazy, right? Crazy odds.
And now look.
I mean, this, you can also think of it as buy low territory, where it's $17 into 50. You can ride these up. Oof.
And that was the other thing. Give a shout out. Good morning, Amber. How are you? She says hello to Travis and Jeff. Where I was going with this, Travis, as well, is Bruins are up 3-1. Instead of playing the individual games, you could now jump back in when the Bruins are up 3-1 and take Toronto at say plus 520. You don't have to go in and bet the Bruins or Toronto in game 5. Well, Toronto wins. So now you come back home. Toronto was a short favorite last night. You still got them at 5-1. Now they went from 5-1 to 3-1. My point is now is you got in when they were down 3-1. You didn't touch the ticket plus 5-1. Now you go into a game 7 where you have opportunities to guarantee yourself some money, and it doesn't matter who wins the game. So looking at updated series prices after each game instead of going in and trying to wager on every game, Travis.
Yeah, and we're gonna add like, you know, game stuff, series stuff as we get in here. But as you were talking, of course, we're just looking at, I switched to Eastern Conference. We were looking at Stanley Cup. Everyone can go here and do this too, just like our calculator, wagerwire.com/calculator or /calc. You can go to wagerwire.com/graph, build all of these for yourself. Pretty cool stuff, honestly. Is there anyone else in hockey that's you want to look at, or should we look at baseball, Joe?
Let's do a trip down to the boys this summer and just take a look at we're back into May now, so we've gotten through the first 6 weeks of baseball or 7 weeks. Some slow starters, some big starters. We'll take a look and see how the numbers say.
Let's see what's going on. Oops, sorry. Hit NFL. Go to MLB. All right, the boys this summer. Let's make these $1,000 bets to be more interesting here. Why not? Up our unit size. Okay.
And you can add the two chalk teams, obviously, the Dodgers and the Braves.
And for everyone watching, we built this chart here too. This is part of what WagerWire does. This is our data team put this together. These are real odds, real stats. You can see the bet value here, depending on like when you place that bet, or you could switch it to odds, which might be more useful for people trying to decide when they want to get in on some futures. Me and my dad, Jeff, dropped a few, dropped a little sprinkle on a Yankees Reds World Series exacta, and also did the two outcomes. So Reds beat Yankees, Yankees beat Reds. Had some pretty juicy odds on those.
I would think you did. I'm a big believer. I love the Reds. I love the youth. I love where they're going. The Yankees, I don't know how they're doing it. I really don't. Their offense has been anemic. They lost Cole for 3 months, yet they're hanging around and hanging around. And in, I think, the toughest division in baseball currently. But you could probably say there's other ones. But, I mean, you got the Orioles, you got the Yankees. The Jays' offense has been anemic. I don't know. The Rays' offense is anemic, and the Red Sox are doing it with mirrors. We got a lineup and a cast of characters that matches the Pawtucket days in AAA. I just have never seen anything like it.
I think the NL Central is the toughest in baseball.
I agree. I can agree with that. I can. I'm being a little biased, of course, for my Red Sox here, but I agree. I like the Cubs. I thought St. Louis would be better, of course. The Brewers came out guns a-blazing. They're playing well. And, of course, you got the Reds. And don't forget the Pirates, hot start to start. You were talking about them. I was talking to a colleague about them. We're waiting for Paul Skeens to get called up there, which probably he's pitching Sunday, supposedly, in the minors. So maybe next week we'll get the debut of Paul Skeens. But how you feeling about the Reds, Travis?
I feel good about the Reds. Like you said, it's a young team. I love Ellie De La Cruz, Steer. Like I think there's a chance that we can make. We haven't won an actual playoff game in it might be 30 years. Is that right?
It's been a while. The big red machine.
Yeah, because we've had all those times where we go to the wild card. The last series we were in, I think I was in college. I went with Zach when they played the Giants, and of course they were up, I think 3-0, and then got swept the rest of the series. It was kind of traumatizing.
Well, short story, and I'm going to age myself here. And if I think you've already heard this, maybe some of the people that are new to the station haven't. 1975, Travis. I was in 5th grade. Okay. Red Sox were playing the Reds in the World Series. And my first official wager was 50 cents on the Red Sox with a classmate in my 5th grade elementary school. And that was my first official wager. So obviously I started 0-1 because I had the Red Sox, he had the Reds, and the rest is history.
Well, we love that. I'm happy the Big Red Machine could inspire you to start this career. I mean, if only you had WagerWire back then.
I know we had dramatics to get it to Game 7, with Carlton Fisk and Bernie Carbo, but you guys were loaded. Bench, Concepcion, Tony Perez. they were just fun to watch. Johnny Bench, Pete Rose. I mean, the list is endless there. That's why they were called the Big Red Machine. George Foster, another one there. But I'm pulling for your Reds. Trust me.
I'm pulling for my Reds too. I mean, I'll root for the Red Sox just for you, but I'm not particularly fond of them. Okay, sorry. Going back to the chalk teams. You said we're going Dodgers,
Braves.
Yep.
You could throw in the Yankees. See, so you already got a bump on your Yankees there. Astros, who have started off real bad.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a buy low situation, obviously, for the Astros right now. Who else can we add in there? You can add the Phillies in there. They're a fan favorite. They're sitting right there. American League, Astros. You could throw the defending champs in there, Rangers, if you'd like.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I know another team that a lot of people have wagered on is the Orioles. That's a sexy pick right there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there you go. Even money right now on the Orioles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so on the left, we're looking at what the starting odds were. On the right, we're looking at the current odds. And then when we put this into our bet value, it basically normalizes all the teams. Is if we started with $1,000 bet, what would that bet be worth right now?
Yep.
Most of these chalk teams are in the money. LA sagging and them sagging a little bit. Houston's way down. It's a factor of, as you know, Jeff, but just for the audience, what their potential upside was to begin the season is what their current, because they're climbing to realize that full value. So when you see this, it's like a factor of the left and the right. It's a factor of how they've moved from their starting position. But over here, when we go to bet value, it's a multiple of that initial payout to the potential payout and where they are in that journey.
So basically speaking, 6 weeks in, you don't want to tie your money up for 6 months. I would be looking at this board here. And am I a believer? No, but they always find a way. That's the Houston Astros right now. Again, stock low. What do? We buy low, we sell high. Again, it might be a good time to add some Astro tickets to your portfolio. Just set them and forget them. Again, they got a lot of work to do. They sent the Abreu down this week to AAA to try to get back into a rhythm and a swing. They need some pitching to come back. But when the dust settles, they always seem to be there. Your Rangers is at a tad below. Who else we got in there? The Atlanta is even. You're up $100 on the Phillies, up $200 on the Orioles, and the Yankees are up 300. So the Braves are at even money, basically. Who's below the Braves? The Yankees.
Yankees. We got the Yankees. Yeah. We got we got the Dodgers tucked below the Braves down.
Yeah. Okay, so it's the Dodgers right now, who we know are not going anywhere. Walker Buehler should be up next week, so they're only going to get stronger as well. So always interesting. We'll be doing a lot more of this. I'm going to add this to the ECSI repertoire in the next couple months here for you. I think what we're going to end up doing, Travis, is I do a show 1 or 2 times a week with Scotty Webb, who former MLB catcher for the Tampa Bay Rays. He's been with me for a long time. Oh, and I just lost you, Travis. And we're going to add those graphs and stuff. Travis, I don't know if you left the building on purpose. Here he comes. There we go. It's okay. Anyways, before we wrap this up, Amber says Johnny Bencher's my favorite number is 5. Talk about where you heading next week, and then the 2 weeks after. Everyone loves to follow you and Zach's journey. We want to be you. So where you going? What's going on in you guys' world?
Okay, we'll make it fun because I think you guys, probably don't want to be us, but we can make it look good on paper. Okay, so we go to New York for the sports betting conference. SBC is what it's called. It's one of the bigger conferences, and all the books are there. All the platforms are there. A lot of our partners are there. We're actually nominated for 2 awards for what it's worth: Rising Star of the Year and Affiliate of the Year, actually. So big deal. We got a lot of respect for the people we're nominated with. I'm not going to lie, Jeff, it is a fun time. We'll probably go to karaoke. That's how we close some deals. But yeah, I mean, what we talk about here, we're trying to get it more into the mainstream conversation. You mentioned all that kind of free marketing money that DraftKings is leaving on the ground with this ticket here. I totally agree. We try to be respectful in all of our talks because these are big companies. They got a lot of considerations. But from here, where we're sitting on X, on YouTube, where the people are sitting, I think we want to put in a memo out. I'll put a memo out on behalf of all of us here, and it's not directed at any one book, but we know the ads. We've seen the ads. Okay. We've seen the billboards. We've seen the commercials. We're aware that there's deposit bonuses. It's not that we haven't seen the offer. Okay. That's not why people aren't signing up. Why aren't people signing up? I'm going to leave that as an open question to the sports books. Why aren't people betting more? Why are people leaving your sports book? There's got to be something different. There's got to be something different for them to do. It's got to feel different. They got to feel valued. If they can be empowered with something like bet sales, I feel like they're going to stick around. And by the way, this is a free marketing opportunity. Whenever one of these big tickets from one of your users comes around, $1 million that you would have had to have spent on Twitter ads, which, by the way, everyone ignores. Yeah.
It's crazy where, I don't want to say where this is going, because where it is already gone. I mean, we got a player in the NBA suspended for life. We go back to the Shohei Ohtani incident and rumblings from Daniel Wallach, who well respected and Massachusetts here, talking about Southern California sportsbook with ties now to Resort World, with some stuff going on, which something, Travis, I said from day one, people were missing the big picture here on the Shohei Ohtani case. It wasn't the amount that was bet. It wasn't that it was the translator. It was a book that was busted by the feds. This person had already done 3 years' time. If they're taking $3-4 million wages from Shohei Ohtani, let me see who else is in that book. There's names there that would probably tear down all of sports. And my point is, this book was bigger than life. This could have shut down sports. And it had to be funded, or there had to be someone connected here.
Yes.
And no one was talking about it.
That's the real story, Jeff. And as anyone who's read Billy Walters' book knows, if they're taking Shohei's money, they're taking that much money. That's not the only money they're taking, right? This isn't a white glove service just for his translator. There's some celebs in there, probably some athletes. This was their plug, and where are the roles? Who was on? I think you absolutely put your finger on it. And I know our guy Daniel Wallach's going to sniff it down, because let's look at these guys. They're athletes. They're competitive. Whether it's their interpreter or them or whatever, you're in the sport. You're in the game, and you're making money. You want to Pete Rose is not a one-off. Ohtani's translator is not a one-off. Michael Jordan betting all the time is not a one-off. These guys bet. Where are they betting? They got to bet someplace off the book, someplace clean. Hey, if they had a really nice book that they could go to that the translator found, I'm sure that other people, maybe Ohtani didn't know about it. Definitely our intern Jacob doesn't think he did. Whatever. But I think that there's other people that knew about that book, Jeff, just like you alluded.
Yeah, and that's the point. The fact is that it's been busted. The feds know about it. The gentleman did 3 years' time. It's back open, and then they made Shohei and the interpreter basically the focal point That's not the focal point. If they're taking that kind of action and that's that one star, California's not open for business. Yeah, people jump over to Vegas, but the point is the celebrities, the stars, the business owners, the actors, the actresses, endless. And the monies that these guys are taking, and where is the money's going to? In other words, you can't just take millions and millions of dollars worth of action without having other sources. And I was trying to yell, scream, holler. No one wanted to listen. I'm like, guys, you're missing the real story here.
Yeah. Yeah, you were. And and we'll see. I think it's like, how much digging do the feds want to do? Because at the end of the day, like, sports, helps pacify the public. And if you're going to rip out all the stars of sports because of a betting scandal in the middle of an election year, it's going to cause some ripple effects that might. I'm serious. If people don't have sports, you're pretty much taking the last thing that they have left to really enjoy themselves. And so to rip it apart with the betting scandal, I don't know. My intern Jacob asked me why, what's the incentive for the feds not to look further or harder or call it a day? And I think it's bigger than that. If anyone's seen the Octopus Murders on Netflix, you can get what I'm alluding to here.
Hey, Travis, I know you got a busy day ahead of you and stuff. Tell everyone, I mean, we know where to find you guys, but as we always wrap it up here, tell everyone where they can go, what to look for on WagerWire, the app, the community for the next couple of days, weekend when you're in New York, and then you got a trip after that.
Oh, we got a trip to Malta. Oh, did you want to talk the Cannes Film Festival for 2 seconds before we go?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, cool. So the Cannes Film Festival, it kicks off Oscar season, basically. There was, I ended up counting three of the 10 Best Picture winners premiered at Cannes, and there was 7 films at Cannes that garnered a Academy Award nomination. So we're your one-stop shop for all things Academy Award betting. It starts with the Cannes Film Festival in the south of France on May 14th. And I just wanted to do a quick rundown of the movies that are going to be there, because this is one of the years where some of the biggest directors in the world happen to have films there at the same time, and it's worth paying attention to. So here we go. Francis Ford Coppola is where I'll start. Megalopolis. All right. After a $500 million sale of Coppola Wines, he put $120 million into what is his magnum opus, something he's been working on since Apocalypse Now, 1979, a script that he's been writing for 12 years about a re-envisioning of New York after a ecological / man-made disaster. Whether it's a nuke or whether it's rising seas, we don't know, but they have a chance to rebuild it. And it's 2 competing visions from different architects. One who wants to make basically a utopia, and the other one who wants to play to the worst parts of human nature. It's an epic for the ages, loosely based on Fritz Lang's silent film Metropolis from the 1920s. And it's Megalopolis, Francis Ford Coppola's name above the title, something he's rarely done. It was Mario Puzo's The Godfather. It was Francis Ford Coppola's The Conversation. He hasn't put, and by the way, The Conversation won the Palme d'Or at Cannes. Apocalypse Now won the Palme d'Or at Cannes. If he wins the Palme d'Or, he will be the first to three-peat, I believe. And right now, it's plus 500 on Megalopolis to win the top prize Palme d'Or. Going down the list, so Paolo Sorrentino had a really strong film 2 years ago called The Hand of God about Diego Maradona and Argentina, but also really a coming-of-age tale. It's called Persephone, which is based on the Greek, character, Greek tragedy, whatever. It's a sci-fi, which is good, or it's a fantasy type of film, which he's never done. He did The Young Pope on HBO, super grounded, but also kind of fantastical. This will be really interesting. This is plus 800. Sean Baker, American director who did most memorably recently The Florida Project, but also did a movie called Tangerine, first movie shot all on iPhone, that won him a bunch of awards. He's got a movie called Anora. This is the first look still. The Shroud, David Cronenberg, who did Videodrome, The Fly. You guys have definitely seen his stuff. He's got a really interesting movie called The Shroud. This is tied with Megalopolis at plus 500. to potentially win the Palme d'Or. It's about a technology that is able to let you commune with the dead. And what you're seeing right now is they're walking through a graveyard, but and this is a first look, it appears to be PCs where you could actually chat with somebody who has passed. O Canada by Paul Schrader, the writer of Taxi Driver and Raging Bull. Also, huge director of note, did Mishima, Life in 4 Chapters, and most recently First Reformed. Richard Gere plays it's a true story, and I forget the person's name, a person who defects to Canada during the draft. It's also got Jacob Elordi and Uma Thurman. Should be really interesting. O Canada is plus 600 to win the Palme d'Or. And then rounding it out is a really kind of low-key movie, but could still take it, called Bird, plus 500. It's got Barry Coogan from last year's Saltburn. Barry Coogan was going to be in Gladiator 2, dropped out. Now he can do this little film called Bird. I don't know much about it, but if it's tied with Coppola, we should take a look at it. And that's the Cannes rundown.
Well, that's your expertise, your knowledge. It never ends. Oscars, we're here. Tonys. I mean, when does it slow down?
Well, I'm honestly thinking that you can follow the movie calendar like you can follow the sports calendar, because we have Cannes, right? And then we're going to have Berlin, and then, you have the summer releases, and then you have Telluride, then you have Venice, and then you have all those awards that we talked leading up to the Academy Awards. So I'm trying to think about, are the directors like coaches and managers, and the actors are like players, and the studios are like, where I think that there's a way to kind of follow this like we follow sports. I'm edging on it.
Well, I think what we might need to do is we're going to find you a wingman, and we're going to start to recreate the Siskel and Ebert. And then we could start, it could be Travis and whoever, and we might have to add that to something, come, mid to late summer.
I love that. Hey, man. I was going to say, I don't like being a critic, but I do like being a critic. And actually, Cannes was built on criticism. The Cahiers du Cinema is their magazine that got Jean-Luc Godard started, got Francois Truffaut started. All of the great directors of the French New Wave started first as film critics and actually legitimized people like Alfred Hitchcock, who was considered a popcorn director. They said, no, he's actually using cinema in a very interesting way, kind of made him, more highly regarded than he was. He was thought of as a pulpy guy. Now he's considered a master because these French dudes who really formed the basis of what became the ethos of Cannes, as the auteurs, the writers, directors, kind of run the show there. They started as critics, so forget about it. Well, if I'm not making movies in the immediate, I got no problem being a critic, especially in a French context. So let's do it.
Well, the
77 Cannes, by the way, 77.
Well, again, I got this in writing. We're going to be working on this backstage for you as we speak. Safe travels. Hope to connect to you from NYC next week at some point. As always, make sure you tell Zach we said hello. Next week, we'll figure out if we can meet. If not, make sure on Twitter you send lots of pictures and stuff, so at least we can see through the eyes of you and Zach. How's that?
Sounds great, man. We'll do.
Want to shout out to everyone watching and listening. Standing room only here. Thank you, guys. This WagerWire community is second to none. At 2:30, the 3 Men in the Box, the NCAA college baseball show, will be back with Matt and Quentin. And at 4 or 4:30, the closing bell with Riley Magnuson. For myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Investor, one and only Mr. Travis Geiger at WagerWire, at WagerWire CXO. We wish everyone a great morning, good afternoon, and see you soon.
Thank you.